Hello lettering friend, I'm Sarah from Ensign Insights, and as I've been sharing pages from my handlettering journal lately, I've been getting a lot of questions about how to lay out quotes in your journal and how to find quotes to letter. So that's what I'm going to answer in this video. You're going to see me practicing some quotes in my book, Handlettering for Beginners. If you have my book, you can practice with me. If not, that's okay too, but let's get into it. Here are 7 steps to handlettering a quote that you love. Number 1, choose a quote to handletter. Sometimes this is easy and sometimes this can be the biggest barrier. Here's what helps me. I take quotes from books I'm reading, songs I'm loving, shows or movies that I'm watching. I have a list on my phone in Notion where I'm constantly adding quotes that I want to letter. That way I can always look through it when I don't know what to letter, and I can choose a quote depending on the mood that I'm in. Sometimes I have a specific thought in mind and I'll Google certain topics like quotes about sunshine and I'll see if there's anything I like. I also like to letter things that I need to hear right now, like affirmations. For example, if you were your best friend, what would you tell yourself right now? That's something you can letter. And then your lettering is your best friend telling you the thing you need to hear. Number 2, choose your size and shape for your hand lettering quote. Knowing your limits can be really helpful in knowing what kinds of pens you'll need to use. If you're lettering on a larger canvas, that's going to be very different from lettering on a small piece of watercolor paper. Lately, I've been using my journal, so I have to decide if I want to do a 2-page spread or only 1 page, and if I want to turn it to the side and do a wide spread. The size of your quote can also determine what you choose here. I have a smaller journal and I've been enjoying doing smaller pieces in it. Maybe you like to fill a larger space though. I also have this square journal and I'm excited to see how my layouts change to fit in a square. Once you know where you're going to be lettering, next is number 3, sketch out some thumbnails. Basically, pull out a pencil and start sketching out any idea you can think of to lay out your quote. You can do this directly on your paper if you're okay with erasing a lot, or you can use some scratch paper. I like to write down the quote first so I can see where the longer words are, and then underline any words that I want to stand out. As you're trying different things, you might get an idea of something to try. And another trick for this is using tracing paper. You can place more tracing paper on top and try out a different version while seeing what you did underneath. I have a whole video about this that I will link below. The next couple of steps will give you some ideas to experiment as you are sketching out your quote. Number 4, experiment with the alignment. It is common to center your quote in the center of your page, and that's a great layout, just keeping it simple. By the way, I almost never get the alignment right on the first try. I'm always erasing and moving things over. You might also try aligning it to the left or right. I like to do this when my lettering is just in the corner and something else is filling the page. Or you could even try a justified alignment where it fills the whole space. With this, you just have to stretch some words, which also helps certain words stand out. And that brings me to the next one. Number 5, experiment with the focal point. What is the main focus of your quote? Is there a certain word that you want to emphasize? You can help make them stand out by changing the color, the size, or the font style. There isn't a right or wrong way. And that reminds me of this little disclaimer. I want you to know that there's no wrong way to letter quotes. It all depends on the style you're going for. There are 1,000 ways to make a quote look good. So don't go into it with the goal of finding the one perfect layout for this quote. Go into it to have fun and experiment. If you don't like one layout, make another one. The more quotes you letter, the more you're going to learn what you like and what your style is. Instead of making one perfect quote, make 10 imperfect quotes, and you'll be 10 times farther along. Okay, getting back to it, number 6, experiment with the baseline. This is a really easy and fun way to change up your lettering and make it unique. This gives you something to work with, so you'll have some structure to begin with, but still allows for some room to play around with it. You can try a diagonal, wavy, or curved. Once you have a layout that you love, remember, you don't have to have the perfect thing. But now it's time to finish it. Number 7, hand letter your final quote. Use whatever pens or ink you're excited about. When I'm lettering directly on my pencil sketch, I first use my kneaded eraser to erase most of the pencil. If you don't have a kneaded eraser, you can just use a regular eraser. I just find it a little bit easier to control the amount that I'm erasing, since I still want to see it a little bit, but I don't want it to be too dark to show through the quote. I also want to add that in my hand lettering journal, there are so many quotes that I didn't plan out. They don't always turn out looking balanced, and they can always be better if I spend a little more time on them, but laying out a quote can take a lot of time and energy, and sometimes I don't have that time or energy. So just know that it's totally fine not to plan out your quote with all of these steps. Pick and choose what you have time and energy for. Focus more on the process and how lettering is helping you in this moment, instead of focusing on a perfect finished piece. The way you create right now is exactly where you need to be. If you want to learn more about the basics of lettering, I have a lot of really helpful beginner tutorials. I'll leave that playlist right here. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.